Australia's Trade Minister Simon Birmingham weighed in on the truce struck over the weekend between U.S. and China. He said the Australian government will be watching very closely, that to make sure the truce doesn't put the squeeze on Australian ag exports. TheGuardian.com says that President Trump met with the Chinese president, reaching a ceasefire in the conflict that continues to threaten global economic growth. One of the things Trump mentioned first after the ceasefire was announced over the weekend was that China had agreed to buy a tremendous amount of food and agricultural products from American farmers. Now, the Australian trade minister was in Japan for the G20 summit and said the deal between Washington and Beijing must be compliant, that is, with the WTO rules, and that will allow the Australian farmers to compete with the exporters on fair terms. President Trump commented on his talks with China.
Whatever it takes. Look, if we don't make a great deal, if we don't make a fair deal, it has to be better for us than for them because they had such a big advantage for so many years. So obviously we can't make a 50-50 deal. It has to be a deal that is somewhat tilted to our advantage. And if we're not going to do that, we're taking in a fortune from tariffs.
Well, as farmers well know, pollination is the most critical phase for corn development and determining potential yield. Corn pollination has already begun to occur in the Delta and Southeast regions, while it will eventually expand to the Midwest in the weeks ahead. Because of significant delays in planting, corn pollination will occur much later than normal. MaxsWeather.com says that the 50% corn pollination date is expected to be July 27th, 10 days later than the 5-year average. The eastern part of the Midwest will likely see the biggest delays. As they talk about the total number of unplanted acres this year could also eventually top 10 million. That's according to the Hagstrom report, as they quoted USDA's Undersecretary for Farm Production and Conservation, Bill Northey. I'm Susan Littlefield, the Rural Radio Network.
This is Jane. She thinks she's just filling her car, but she's also filling the air with cancer-causing toxic chemicals used to boost octane in gas. What doesn't burn in the engine enters the air and your lungs, even your heart and brain. Bad for everyone, especially kids. Ethanol is a natural octane booster, clean burning and non-toxic. More ethanol means less scary stuff in our gas and in the air we breathe. And that makes your choice pretty plain, Jane. American Ethanol, cleaner air for Nebraska.